Hello friends, Troy here, and today I'm going to take a look at Lies of P. First, let's talk about my feelings towards FromSoft and Soulslike to sort of lay the groundwork. I love FromSoft games. I've played almost every one outside of Bloodborne because PlayStation exclusives, bro. Oh my god. Damn, PlayStation, why do you gotta have such good games? But Sekiro and Elden Ring are some of my personal favorites. When it comes to Soulslike as a whole and non-FromSoft games, I'm always hesitant to try them out. For one, the genre is a bit oversaturated. And two, Soulslikes are tough and by nature repetitive. You can sometimes bang your head against a wall, and that's part of the fun. But the game needs to be a high quality to really feel worth it. So for me, a bad Souls-like is particularly bad because they just feel frustrating and extra shitty. And no one just does it quite as good as FromSoft. They consistently deliver at a high level, which makes sense. I mean, they are the creators of the genre after all. So when I initially heard about Lies of P, a Souls-like where you play as the puppet Pinocchio, it already sounded like a shitty ripoff. I had originally written it off. Lies of P released back in September of 2023, which is peak video game release season. So there were other titles I wanted to play. Starfield.
People will buy anything. That doesn't mean you should do it.
But I gotta say, boy, was I wrong. I'll get right out and say it. Lies of P is a fantastic game. For me, it stands right up there with some of 2023's biggest releases, which if you watch my top 10 games of 2023, you'd already have gotten a taste of that opinion. I recommend you go check that video out. But yeah, Lies of P, this game might stand up there with some of FromSoft's titles, if you ask me. So I'll go ahead and give a general breakdown of the game and tell you what I think worked and what makes Lies of P great and what maybe I think didn't work, what may be holding it back from standing next to some of FromSoft's greatest hits. Self-plug time. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe check out some of my other reviews or video game discussion videos. Let me know down below. Do you like Lies of P? Where does it stack up to compared to FromSoft's titles? Isn't it harder than shit, or am I just mid? That's what the kids are saying now, right? Mid? I'm not that old. I don't know why I act like I am. Parts of this game really ran me ragged. So without further ado, let's dive into Lies of P.
Power beyond your imagination.
Come back to me, Carlo.
Lie to protect yourself.
You stole my sister from me, rotten puppets!
Be careful, clever one.
So, like I've already mentioned, in Lies of P, you take control of Pinocchio. Yes, that Pinocchio. Straight up, the puppet that wants to be a real boy. It actually pulls a lot of elements from the classic tale. There's your maker, Geppetto, whom motivations always seem a bit shady. And yeah, Gemini the Cricket, your wise-cracking guide and best friend.
Hey, let's be more careful. The Black Rabbit Brotherhood. I hate these guys. But don't be alarmed. My name is Gemini. We'll talk later, when we're safe.
But of course, being a Souls-like, this world needs to be absolutely drab and sad and dreary as fuck. Developer Neowiz follows through on this and adds a lot of its own elements here to make it unique from the classic tale. The most prominent being there was a massive puppet rebellion which plunged the city of Krat into chaos. And of course, there's also a disease that really reminds me of the Last of Us fungus in aesthetic, and a lot of other apocalyptic elements that really make this world an absolute nightmare to inhabit. And this brings me to one of Lies of P's biggest strengths. And that's how Neowiz handles this setting and story to really have it stand out in this crowded genre. The setting is just very unique, taking a children's story and twisting it into this nightmarish hellscape. That's not super original per se, but in Lies of P, it's executed flawlessly and is unique to the Souls-like genre. And it just fits so well. It's like peanut butter and jelly, baby. Also, the story is not hidden behind vague item description or obscure NPC dialogues like FromSoft's titles. In Lies of P, it is clearly explained to you what is happening. You can ask an NPC questions and they will directly answer them. However, this storytelling is done very gracefully as to not tarnish the mystique that Souls-like worlds tend to have. Lies of P does have cutscenes, yes, but it doesn't just cram a bunch of these in your face. It doles out this story through meaningful dialogue with NPCs. Should I say dolls? Dolls out, like puppets.
Boo! You stink!
There's also a unique element here where Pinocchio can become closer to a real boy by lying and acting more human. And this does have some significant story implications down the road, including unlocking the true final boss. But I will just say to make sure that you are lying if you want the whole experience. The plot itself and the writing is nothing too mind-blowing, but there are a few twists and turns to keep you on your feet. It's just the story and setting here are so well done compared to other FromSoft titles and Soulslike as a whole. It's just chef's kiss. And some of the more hardcore audience might prefer that obscure storytelling, but for me, and I think for most people, you just get more out of it this way. And they actually tell you a cohesive, coherent story that's actually executed pretty well in Lies of P. Also, special shout out to the music here. It's the best music in any Souls-like, hands down.
I feel good, 'cause I just know feeling of you. Give it to me, baby. Feel alright. I feel good. Won't you step with me, dance with me, give me feel alright.
You can collect these records, and then in the hub area you can play them on your record player while you go around and take care of business. This is just such an intelligent way to add another great layer to the busy work you do in these areas. But alright. I can already hear you now. No one really plays Souls-like for the story elements. No, the core of this genre is its gameplay and specifically its combat. Which Souls-like combat is best when it's simple on the surface, but diving into it reveals a complex and very challenging web of statistics, mechanics, and get good gameplay. And Lies of P absolutely delivers here. It follows the Souls-like genre handbook pretty closely, with challenging gauntlets of enemies broken up between moments of respite at Stargazers, Lies of P's bonfires, a hub world to return to take care of progression and talk to NPCs and take a moment to breathe, intricate map design with only a limited number of checkpoints that can be doubled back to with clever shortcuts. Fantastic and badass boss fights that will make you throw your controller across the room after your 30th fucking try. And a lot of the combat mechanics at work here are copied from the DNA of FromSoft's greatest hits. You have a perfect guard system similar to Sekiro, a bit of Bloodborne in the guard regen, where you kind of have to be aggressive in order to gain back health. And then of course there's some elemental and preparation aspects from Elden Ring and Dark Souls. Neowiz could have easily fucked this up, but again, it is actually very well executed and balanced. And let me tell you, Lies of P is challenging. No. It makes me nervous fighting him so close to the fucking... Oh! No. Fuck. Game is savage, dude. I just gotta say, I did beat the optional final boss, so yeah. You could call me a true gamer. Where it stacks up compared to FromSoft's titles, I'm not sure. Take this with a grain of salt. I don't think I'm quite qualified for that distinction. But to me, it felt about on par with Sekiro, which I think is the hardest Souls-like that I've played. However, this is only if you don't take into account summons, which in Lies of P's are called specters. And specters are available at most major boss fights except for the last optional one. And these sort of take the place of some of the multiplayer elements in FromSoft's titles. For me, when I use these specters, the bosses become a cakewalk. So for those not looking to bang their head against these bosses, it's nice that Lies of P includes these accessibility options. Overall though, the combat and enemy variety and boss battles are all just so great. So great, baby. It walks that line well of being very hard but not feeling unfair. Lies of P will force you to approach and learn all facets of its combat throughout your playthrough. And you'll truly walk away feeling like a seasoned, grizzled veteran who has gotten good. Another way Lies of P really cements its own identity is its weapon crafting system, or rather weapon assembly. You see, when you get a weapon in Lies of P, this comes with a blade and a handle. The blade is what you upgrade and determines the damage and the type of damage. The handle is what scales with certain stats and determines the weapon's moveset. You can assemble these weapons however you'd like, and there are a good amount here. So this just blows the door open for weapon possibilities. And also the fact that you upgrade only the blade allows you to try new handles immediately after acquiring them, incentivizing experimentation. This also gets rid of the whole issue in Souls games where in the mid to late game you're hesitant to try new weapons out because you have to dump a bunch of souls into it to actually make it viable. Pinocchio also comes fit with a replaceable left arm, a la Sekiro, where you can swap and upgrade special abilities. Some of my favorite include things like a grapple to pull yourself or enemies around, a flamethrower, or just a straight up cannon. There's also your fantastically named P organ, like did they not realize what that sounds like? Anyways, this is another progression system outside of your level that adds some powerful buffs and abilities, such as another pulse cell or stagger damage. You can see how layered this progression and build system is, and in turn how deep and complex the gameplay is in Lies of P. I also need to quickly shout out the technical bones of Lies of P. This game runs and looks fantastic. I only encountered one small pathfinding bug, or rather exploit, in my 30+ hours with the game. Lies of P is polished and tight and was running well over 100 frames per second. It's funny that these developers like Neowiz can just drop games with unprecedented levels of polish, then you have these massive AAA game studios just handing out broken pieces of shit. Now, let's talk about what maybe didn't land for Lies of P, or rather, some missed opportunities. And I assure you, these are mostly minor gripes. Lies of P is a great game. But hey, I like to think I'm a critic, so let's criticize. First, although the gameplay and combat is fantastic, one part I did not like was the weapon degradation. How this works is that your weapon will degrade as you land hits with it, forcing you to reset mid-fight and sharpen it using a grinder on your mechanical arm. It sure does look cool, I'll tell you that. But I'm not sure why this is here, besides to add another layer of challenge. But this feels challenging in an annoying way rather than a fair and rewarding way. You already have to manage healing in a similar way, taking time to disengage, making sure that you have enough time and space to use a pulse cell and heal. The grinder is just more of that, but it takes a much longer time to repair a damaged weapon than to use a pulse cell, so you have to disengage in a way that really breaks the flow of combat. Getting a brief moment to hit a pulse cell and bring yourself back from the brink of death is oh so satisfying, but having to sprint away from the boss just to get a few grinds in is frustrating and obnoxious. Also, I do think Lies of P is just a bit too derivative. Now, I've already mentioned what new elements Neowiz does here, and they are mostly great. But sometimes I'm playing this game and I'm asking myself, like, is this legal? Is Neowiz gonna get sued? And I say this because Lies of P's general vibe just screams FromSoft. From the character models, the voice acting, the art direction, hell, even the UI looks straight out of a FromSoft title. If I knew nothing about Lies of P and you told me this was a FromSoft game, I would 1000% believe you. And now this isn't necessarily a huge negative because FromSoft is great and Neowiz copies them quite well here. But I do wish they did at least a bit here to give their game their own style. Like I said, the mechanics they have added here are great, so this is really nitpicky, but just they needed to add some UI elements or something visual to really make Neowiz stand out against FromSoft. And it looks like Neowiz is going to continue to make Souls-like games, and I'm very excited to play them, so I hope in their future they add a bit more to give themselves an identity. My final few gripes are more missed opportunities, and one is that there's no real side or optional content. Now there are little rinky-dink side quests where you can find some small items or rewards, but there are no optional areas, and most importantly, no optional bosses, except for the last one, kinda. Either way, the game is quite linear, which isn't all bad. I can enjoy a linear game. And then the second missed opportunity is that there's no multiplayer here whatsoever. Not even the fun little messages where you can leave people in an Elden Ring and Dark Souls that just have you jump off a fucking cliff. I think these multiplayer elements add just such a unique layer to FromSoft's titles that would have been really enjoyed here in Lies of P, but maybe for their future titles. All right, so in conclusion, yeah, Lies of P, it's a great game. It's fantastic. It nails everything that a Souls-like needs to nail: the combat, the difficulty, progression, and bosses. It even adds a bit more on top to help it stand out in the genre with some unique mechanics and a very interesting story. But alas, there are some minor gripes that I think hold it back from being a 10 out of 10 perfect. So with that, I'm giving Lies of P a 9 out of 10. It's close to perfect. It does enough to add some new elements, and if you are at all a Souls fan or FromSoft fan, you gotta check it out. It's a must play. I think it's the best Souls-like game not developed by FromSoft. At least that I've played. I've played a few non-FromSoft titles, but I think this one's the best. And that's very exciting to me because now there's not just one great developer in this genre, but two. A competitor even, where maybe Neowiz and FromSoft can learn and compete with one another. Not saying there isn't enough room for both of them to make great games, because there definitely is. Anyways, thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments below if you enjoy Lies of P as much as your favorite Souls-like. Did the Nameless Puppet also take you 30+ tries to kill? Where does it stand for you? Thank you so much for watching and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.